Welcome to SPS Extra, where we talk all about the latest in Spokane Public Schools athletics and activities. I'm Taylor Brooks.
And I'm Stephanie Splater.
And we're only about 4 months away from Hoopfest, but who's counting?
I'm counting.
Obviously counting. Awesome. On today's episode, we are talking hoops, and more specifically, Hooptown USA, a new youth league where the school district and AAU have combined their efforts to create a new league. But before we get to that, we want to quickly recap the Spirit Games from our January episode. What a successful week it was.
Everybody loved it.
Spokane Arena.
Everybody loved it.
It was a blast, and I want to say a big congratulations to all 5 high schools for SPS.
All awesome.
Amazing. The production of everything, the outfits, the halftime shows, the collaborations. It was wildly the coolest thing ever.
And I don't know why this year was so great, but it was so great. And I've been to them for years, and it was just something about it. Maybe the energy with no restrictions.
Yeah.
Maybe just the preparation and the focus like we talked about in the last episode. It was pretty fantastic.
It really was. And so let's recap the winners. So Lewis and Clark took the rubber chicken.
I'm telling you, I've seen the score sheet, so I'm not going to reveal any super secrets there, but I walked away knowing it was close. It was going to be really close. And throughout the 2 games, I thought, oh, Ferris has an edge. Oh, LC has an edge.
Right.
And it obviously was really close, and they did a great job, both schools. Mm-hmm. I thought that the Ferris dance team in particular was super. They came out with some different outfits on, and I thought, oh, they don't match. And then they pulled it together, and they had some good crowd participation.
That's so fun.
I thought LC was really cohesive with their props.
Mm-hmm.
Their props looked awesome.
Yeah.
But the spirit was there, and it was a fun night. That was a great Tuesday night. That was an excellent rubber chicken.
I know this is really competitive, obviously.
Yeah.
The kids, the staff, alumni, everyone gets into it. And this is very cliche, but everyone was a winner at Rubber Chicken.
Oh.
Seriously, if you were a part of that in any way between Elsie and Ferris, you should seriously be so proud of yourself.
Right. It was fantastic, and it was super equal as far as it could have gone either way.
Yeah. And I felt that way for Groovy Shoes as well. I was there shooting video the entire time. And genuinely, I thought Shadle brought it.
Oh, they were loud.
They were so loud. They were so in sync.
They were.
North Central, of course, was too. But there were points where I was sitting above shooting video, and Shadle would go and NC would go. And I go, I really don't know who's going to win this.
No.
And as we've mentioned, North Central has now won 7 years in a row. But it still could have gone either way, and Shadle should be very proud of what they did as well, because the circus theme was so fun.
It was so fun. And did you notice that Shadle had their feeder kids there doing a dance at halftime? That was so awesome. Yeah. So the elementary kids, so that's what they need to do to pull off a victory in the future.
Yes.
They're preparing those kids. They're program building. That's what I like to talk about in general with sports and activities, is building a program. Mm-hmm. They're doing that. They were so loud and so, like you said, coordinated.
Yeah.
They should be proud of themselves. And I know it's not the best not to win the ultimate prize of those shoes, but they were awesome. They were excellent.
Yeah, It was really fun. North Central, I will say, I don't know if I just had never noticed it before, but their use of props.
Whoa.
The claw is coming down the student section, and I was dumbfounded. I'm like, they have the pulley system going, and they have their systems, and they have it down, and you know that. And it was really impressive.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I've been to a lot of these games, like I've said 100 times.
Yes.
They did some things I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Then my husband and I go to the Zags the next night.
Yeah.
So Thursday night we go to the Zags. We see the awesome Kennel Club, and I thought North Central rivaled the Kennel Club with what they were doing. And I think the biggest one that shocked me was when they rolled down the big signs. Yep. So they have all the different signs, right?
Yes.
They rolled down the big sign and changed their shirts.
Yes.
Under the sign. That's what I've never seen before. Now, listen, I understand that may have happened before, but I've never seen it. And it was a big impact.
Yes.
And I thought, wow. And I looked at the athletic director and I said, how much practice did it take to get I'm going to guess 800 to 1,000 kids doing the same thing. They were the biggest crowd of the week.
100%
for sure.
Was.
Now, listen, I know that they can walk there.
True. That is a good point. But
they don't all live right there. But they were the biggest. Yeah. And so awesome. Shadle and North Central showed up early, which I thought was cool.
Super cool.
The crowd was full before the girls' game. Yeah. So they were awesome. But North Central was a step above any of the rest that week just because they pulled off some things that were amazing.
Yeah, really amazing. Yeah. They took that Disney theme and
that was fun. Now,
put it in places I didn't even know could happen.
I had seen Cheney Monday night do Disney.
Yep, for the Railroad Rumble.
And Rogers was awesome.
Yes.
Small but mighty.
Yes.
And they're just going to continue to build, and they were so fantastic. Cheney was fine. Like, they were good, but it was interesting to see Cheney's version of Disney versus North Central's a couple nights later.
Right.
Because there's so much there with the music, all the characters. They'd have a character, Cheney would, and I'd say to my husband, oh, is that a Disney character? Well, sure enough, because Disney has a ton of characters.
So many.
And it was interesting to see, but the Railroad Rumble was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah. That was a spirited, of course, I keep saying that, but it was an awesome contest. And I said to some colleagues today, I said, that's going every year now. This is a thing. It's heading in perfect direction.
Yeah. And I think at this point, with Rogers now winning it 2 years in a row with the competition.
Standard set.
Right? The standard is set. I think it should motivate Cheney even more to get involved in this. Of course they are, and we saw that.
They had big numbers.
Absolutely.
They definitely weren't quite as, how do you say it without saying spirited? I don't know. Rogers just had all of it together. They were great.
They really did. It was overall just such a fun week.
It was fun.
Yeah, I think everyone had a great time, and we just wanted to make sure we gave a shout out to all the schools for their hard work. And of course, you can watch the video recaps of the Spirit Games at spokaneschools.org/stories. All right, we'll be right back here on SPS Extra as we keep talking about the Hooptown Youth League. We'll actually talk to some hoopers from Roosevelt Elementary School and how their experiences went this season for the Hooptown Youth League. Welcome back to SPS Extra. We have a ton to get to on this episode as we are talking about youth sports and how important they are. Obviously, we have an interview with Riley Stockton, the executive director of Hoopfest, and Gonzaga's strength and conditioning coach, Mike Nilson. But before we get to that, Stephanie, let's talk about youth sports and the importance of having extracurriculars, whether that is sports or if it's not sports, and just development of being a young kid, because it's not easy these days.
No, not at all. And I think we're going to hear from Mike a little bit later how important it is to make different connections, not just on the court, but off the court with your teammates. And so that's something that I'll be looking forward to hearing a little bit more about as well. We say it a lot and we don't want to go on and on because we're moving forward. But during the pandemic, kids didn't have obviously a lot of youth sports. And when they did, it was distanced and in groups of 5 or 6 at a park. And that wasn't great. So now that we're back, I think it's super cool in Spokane schools that we have so many opportunities for kids. I know right now a lot of schools are doing some volleyball at their sites, and we're looking to do a district-wide volleyball situation coming up, so that'll be great. In the fall, we have our massive cross-country program, where we have almost 4,000 kids running around town, and a great partnership with Active for Youth, who has been our partner for over 15 years, and so that's really exciting. And then, pickleball is happening.
It's a big thing.
I've known about pickleball for a really long time.
Same.
Because I taught over on the west side where it was invented here in Washington. And so we were always playing pickleball. But I think it's really picked up here in Spokane schools. So buying a lot of pickleball equipment for PE teachers.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Pickleball is so fun. And so I think between cross country, volleyball, basketball, now pickleball, badminton's pretty popular. Flag football is definitely seeing a resurgence. We have middle school flag football, but some of our elementaries are getting involved in that. Just super awesome opportunities for kids to be involved and connect through athletics.
Yeah, I think when I think about personally my childhood, it was playing sports. That's all I did. Saturdays, Sundays, we had youth leagues as well back in Illinois. And it was constant, but that is what kept me grounded even as a young kid. It kept me focused. It kept me having fun, obviously. That's where I met some of my best friends. And I came from a small school where I was playing with my friends that I was going to school with, but I also was meeting a lot of other kids from other schools. And that was so much fun for me. And we'll talk about this later about how these kids are playing a lot, especially in Hooptown, with the kids they'll go to school with or with the kids they're going to school with. But it's still, you're playing against people you know or you might not know, and you're getting those relationships. And I think that's so important.
Super important. And I think also just life lessons learned through sports with like confidence and how to be a friend, how to be a teammate, and adversity and resilience. Like all of those things are built in. And I know we know that and we understand that. But I think our goal in Spokane schools is to have as many opportunities as possible for kids to participate. And that extends even beyond sports.
Yeah.
We've got some awesome Lego robotics teams here in Spokane schools at all levels. And that's fantastic and has a lot of those qualities that you can get from being a team and working together towards a task or a project. And so that's fantastic. And then a lot of other things. I know Math is Cool is seeing a resurgence. I don't know if you know about Math is Cool, but Math is Cool is kind of a competition math program that we're seeing post-pandemic some kids get back into. And so that's really exciting. I know we have some great science and STEM connections. We're doing a STEM academy this spring in elementary, which pairs them with local STEM business people, and they produce cool, awesome things. We're going to learn more about that. And then I would like to give a quick shout out to the Holmes West Central Express newspaper. That is a club that they have at their school. It's like old-fashioned printed newspaper. So there's a lot of cool extracurricular things going on. And we're focused on this episode on some of the athletic pieces, but kids being involved and engaged is super important to us and something that we want to continue to expand.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're doing something and you love it and you're passionate about it. And I think when you go into these classrooms or you go to these practices, you're seeing how much kids love it. And of course, it can be frustrating at times. Who hasn't been frustrated with doing something they love? But like you said, it's life lessons. And I recently actually just went and did a story on esports, which is something that is completely surging across the United States.
And I don't think people understand. So give us a little breakdown.
Yeah.
Because it is not just playing video games.
No, it's not. It's the way these kids were describing a competition. And some of these kids, they go like every Saturday to Spokane Valley Walmart to the esports arena is what they call it.
Awesome.
And they do competitions every single weekend. These kids are serious. And so when I just said, describe to me what a competition is in esports, you have a team. You know, you're on a team. You have a coach. Your coaches are going in what they said is like these game rooms, and they're talking amongst themselves while your teammates are talking about how to approach this game, whether that's Smash Bros, strategy, whatever it may be. And so I'm not the biggest gamer in the world. I'm not afraid to admit that. But to have my eyes open to that and to see what esports is doing for these kids, I mean, it's so much fun. And I was at Rogers specifically, and they have an incredible team there. And they have like 12 monitors. Kids bring their own switches. And it's truly a competition, but it's a way to also, of course, have fun and bring people together.
I read an article about esports just about a year ago. I think it was in In Health magazine, which is one of the Inlander magazines. And it was talking about that very thing, that connectedness is what people were lacking in the last few years, and that the esports, even if you think it's more screen time and you think that it's just video games like we talked about before, it actually was a bit of a saving grace for a lot of kids to connect socially and emotionally during that time. And now that we're back together, they can do it in an in-person format with that teamwork piece and so on. So I think esports is thriving and growing, and something that we want to definitely build upon in Spokane Public Schools. The Rogers Pirates got about a $30,000 grant last year for their computers for esports. And so this is no joke. Like, this is fantastic and something that I definitely think will continue to grow.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think their hope eventually that it does become a sanctioned sport in the state of
It's
Washington.
it's on the path, that's for sure.
Exactly. On the path. Really, really cool. And I mean, all in all, what we're trying to get across is that being involved and having a place where you feel safe, regardless of what activity that is in your school, it's really special.
You're going to be a healthier person.
Yes.
You're going to be a better student. And you're going to develop those lifelong relationships, be it with your advisor, your friends, your teammates, all the people that are involved. I think it's super awesome that we're exploring a whole bunch of different things.
And I think at the district level, the support is also important to note. Like, the district is supporting a lot of different things. And we'll get into Hooptown and how beautiful and how much this first year meant to this area and to the kids and to the parents, but the support is there and it's so broad, and we want it to be broad.
And it's authentic support because
Yes.
it's actually what people care about
Yeah.
and what people want to be doing. If you were at one of those gyms on a Saturday during the Hooptown Youth League, you couldn't help but feel the energy and the excitement from, and I know, at times it was early gym opens, but our custodial staff is top-notch, world-class, and we're so awesome in supporting it, to the PE teachers pumping up those balls for practice and providing some after-school support, to all the people doing the planning. Like, we continue to have Tuesday morning planning meetings for Hooptown Youth League just to make sure that it continues to be awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm just really excited for the future of extracurricular in Spokane, and fun to showcase those here and talk to Mike and Riley today.
Welcome back to SPS Extra. I'm Taylor Brooks. She's Stephanie Splater, and we have two very special guests with us. We have Riley Stockton, the Executive Director of Hoopfest, and Mike Nilson, Strength and Conditioning Coach at Gonzaga. And we are talking Hooptown Youth League, the first year of it. And from what I've heard, it went really well.
Yeah, we were thrilled with the numbers that turned out. I think when we first started it, we were hoping 1,500 kids would come out, and we ended up with 3,300 plus. And so to see that love of basketball and to start to grow and foster those relationships that sports teaches you, we were thrilled with that number.
I would love to know how this evolved, because you, of course, read about it. At the district level, we have known about it, but how did this all come about?
Was it just a conversation over Zoom during COVID? 'Cause that's some of the rumors that we heard, for sure.
Well, I think it's been about 10 years in the making.
Oh, 10 years.
10
Okay.
years in the
No
making.
big
Not
deal.
just 3. Yeah.
Well, just seeing what basketball has been doing across the nation. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal talking about how women's basketball or girls basketball in high school has declined 20% over the last 20 years. And we've seen it here in Spokane. We've seen participation numbers going down. And we're Hooptown USA. We should have the best youth league on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
And so we just have a lot of people that love basketball, that care. We have the Riley Stocktons of the world that can really do something about it. Rick Betts, Adam Swinyard was instrumental in this. And then people like me that just love coaching our kids. And so we all put our heads together and said, our community deserves more. And so it was a great team effort. We have a committee from retired college coaches, current college coaches, former NBA players, athletic directors. Everyone just came together and said, if we were going to wipe the slate clean and start fresh, what will we do? And we came up with the Hooptown League.
One of the things I thought was so cool was it was bringing back the feeder pattern structure. Because I know when I played with Ferris girls all through elementary school and then in middle school, and then we played together in high school. Like, that just made sense. And so that feeder pattern idea was really strong this year, and it felt like when the kids wore those T-shirts afterwards with their feeders, I see them now on TikTok and Instagram wearing their shirts. Like, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and I think what was happening even in AAU is, there'd be the best 10 kids in all of the Spokane area playing on one team, and, there'd be blowouts every week. So we're trying to kind of foster those community relationships that were so valuable, what sounds like to you and was to me when I was growing up here, and really try to play with the people in your area. It really changed kind of how we looked at our league. So, yeah, it was great.
To see the reaction and to see this actually come to life, how cool was that for both of you in this first year?
Well, it was really fun because Adam Swinyard and I, we coach our 4th grade sons. And so the very first game, we walk in the gym and there are families everywhere. It's just packed to the brim, just tons of smiles and laughing and kids sweating and diving on the floor. And we just looked at each other and we're like, this is what it's all about. And we saw a ton of fun, close, competitive games. We have a laundry list of a million things that we're going to do in year 2 to make it better. But year 1, just the participation was exactly what we were looking for. It was just getting kids onto the court with their friends that they're going to go to high school with and just being able to roll the ball out for really an affordable price.
What also was really fun is on a Saturday, you could have games that you want to go to. So I always knew when your game was. So I'd be running around town doing some other things with the Hooptown Youth League. But I made sure I was 12 o'clock at Chase Middle School to see you guys. And it was just fun. I took a friend one time. She had kids who played in AAU, kind of the classic all-star traditional model, and she said, this is fun. She's an elementary PE teacher, and so she can see the value of all the different levels. But it was fun to have somewhere to go on Saturday in the late fall and early winter that was watching kids play basketball.
It was fun for me too because I coached a team with a lot of Moran Prairie boys, and for the last few years we've been playing AAU, and I coached kids from all over the city. But this coaching experience was coaching my son with all his school friends. And I didn't realize there were some really good players at Moran Prairie that had not been playing basketball because they couldn't find a team, or they might not have felt confident enough to play AAU. Yeah. And so to get them on this competitive team was so fun for me as a dad.
You know, they were talking about it at school.
Oh, yeah.
The team stuff. That's awesome. So better conversations at recess and in between classes than whatever else they were talking about. They were talking about basketball. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, and, you know, there was a lot of Foursquare and there was a lot of flag football and soccer going on. But once Hooptown League started, it was basketball every recess. That was, you know, my son would come home and tell me about all the, you know, close games that happened on the playground. So, yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and you guys have mentioned it multiple times, with the feeder pattern, playing with your school friends. I mean, how important is that development, whether you are a 4th grader or you are an 8th grader, to play with people who you're going to play with? Because when you get to high school, you already have those relationships, you have those developments. How important do you feel like that is?
I think it's vital. I think it's vital for success in high school sports. You know, there's going to be really tough times. You know, as you get older, the competition gets better at every level, and you need to have those relationships develop where you're going through good times and going through bad times. And I think that's what this league teaches you. Is there's a ton of close games. You learn how to win. You learn how not to lose in some situations. And I think it's vital if you want to be successful in sports or in school to have these relationships that are already developed by the time you get there.
We saw some comments on social media that said, like, what a great way to use our gyms. Like, what a great way to have the gyms busy again. We have so many schools around this area, not just in Spokane schools, but area wide. And every Saturday and some Sundays, you'd see a whole bunch of kids playing in the gym. And that's what it should be for. So that was another thing I think that was really cool about this new program.
Yeah, you know, Spokane is lucky to have some athletic facilities, but if we tried to do them solely in athletic facilities, we wouldn't have had enough room. And so to get kids back in their local schools and to see, you know, the beautiful schools that we do have in this area and the beautiful gyms, that's just a plus to this league. You know, people walking into Yasahara and Flet for the first time are blown away and going, God, I wish I went to a school like this. So it's just a great way to show off kind of the resources we do have in this community.
Well, and as a parent, last year before Hooptown, I was practicing 8 to 9:30 at night on Wednesday night, on a school night.
Oh, no.
You know, my son is
That's jammy time.
Oh, yeah. And of course, you know, we're not home until 10, and then my son has to eat and shower. And so not only are we close in our middle schools or our elementary schools, but we're practicing at 5 or 6 in the afternoon. We can go home and have a family dinner. And so this league on so many different levels was just great for our family.
I like what you said earlier also about connecting the local college community and some of our other basketball resources. This really was a partnership, and it felt like it came together that way. And so cool to have some of our local athletes out at the games and coaches. I know when those Eastern women's basketball players were out at Flet one Saturday, it was fantastic. They were celebrities. I'm not totally sure that everyone knew who they were meeting. But by the end of the session, they were so excited doing Eags cheers, and the girls were so happy to be there. And I think that was really awesome.
Yeah, to have the Gonzaga, Whitworth, and Eastern Washington University men's and women's staffs helping design this league and making sure that not only is it great for the community and great for kids and great for families, but it's also great for the game of basketball. And then for them to donate their time to put on the free coaching clinic, it's just been awesome. And then, you go to one of the middle schools and watch a game and you have Lisa Fortier.
It's amazing. I was starstruck myself.
Yeah, she's coaching a team, or
Stacey
Stacy Kleinsmith. Yeah, so it's just awesome to see them not only donating their time for the coaching clinics, but they're actually coaching kids, which is just so cool.
That's really awesome.
We continue to say this, and since I've lived here in Spokane, I've always known, and we mentioned it, Hooptown USA, and this just continues to show how much Spokane loves the game of basketball, and it goes beyond basketball. It's for our kids. It's for the kids. That's what this is all for, right?
It really is. And, we've always had, AAU in town, and that's been, for the high level kids, it's always worked out. But I think what this gave an opportunity to is those kids that maybe don't have the access to AAU, that don't have the funds to play in AAU. And it really gives a chance for any kid that wants to be a part of a basketball team or the basketball community, gives them a chance to play. And that's what was so important to us as we were kind of beginning this league.
Of course, we know this is SPS Extra, but to have other districts involved, how cool was that too? Because, you said the numbers at the beginning of this, over 3,000 kids ended up participating, and that is beyond just the Spokane Public Schools District.
Yeah, it took a whole community. Mike and I were the road show going out to all the other districts for a long time, but it kind of just shows you the value of this league. And it wasn't, a hard sell to really any of them. They all wanted their kids to be able to participate in this for the same reasons why it's important for SPS kids to participate in it. They're local kids, they're playing with their local teams, and it gives them a chance to kind of grow a love for a sport that's been vital to a lot of people in this area.
I noticed a lot of female coaches. Didn't matter if it was a boys team or a girls team. There's a lot of female coaches out there, which was awesome. And I know it's one of the goals next year to increase our participation with our female athletes. So looking forward to that. I think we're off to a good start this year. More girls were playing basketball and had a great time doing so. I remember when we did the clinic the feeder clinics to see who was interested and what team that might be a good fit for them. And there were quite a few girls I remember that I met from Indian Trail, and they were asking me questions like, is this going to be a serious league? Is this going to be good competition? And these were third graders. And I went and watched them, and they were serious. They were third grade, probably playing at a fifth grade or sixth grade level, but they were having a great time, and they were combined with girls from other area schools. I think we had Brown and Westview kids on that team as well, and it was just really fantastic to see the girls coming together and playing. It's what I remember, but I think we've gotten away from a little bit, so exciting to see women's basketball and all the things. And I know we had a partnership with some tickets for the Eags and the Zags, so I've seen a lot of those players at games as well.
Well, I was going to say that's near and dear to my heart. I'm the strength coach for the women's basketball team, and 10 years ago, really the last 20 years, Spokane has been a powerhouse for girls women's basketball, and to see it slowly kind of die off, I think this league is exactly what it needed to be able to revamp it. And Riley did a great job of touching on how this league is for everyone, for kids that might not have the opportunity or access, but it's also for the high level player, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
We talk about, our fourth grade team. We have some of the best kids in the city playing in this league. And so I just love the model of, if you're a rec player, if you're a competitive player, if you're one of the advanced competitive players, there's a place for you that's going to put you in close competitive games with your friends.
Yeah, I think from the AAU perspective, that was dying for our women's side of it. We had, a team of eighth graders, and that's it. And, when I played probably 15 years ago in AAU, there was probably 15 to 20 teams of female competitors at each grade level. So we were down in numbers like crazy. And so to see this kind of grow, and you see how many K through 2 girls teams we have, and to see that number will continue to grow and continue to grow, that's something that really excites us at our office.
Yeah, you just spoke about the growth without giving away too much. You said you have a list of improvements and things that you want to improve on for next year. What are some of those things?
Well, there is a laundry list of them. And, so much of this was learning on the fly. We didn't know what we didn't know, especially as we were going into registration, team formation, how we need to communicate with parents, all that stuff. So all those little things, whether it's communication, how we are getting our information out, that will all be cleaned up. We'll also have a lot of the stuff done earlier this year. I think of how many meetings I had with Stephanie in August and September trying to finalize an MOU. And we really couldn't do much until those MOUs were signed. So hopefully getting out in front of this a little bit, because I'm trying to think of March and April, we were still figuring out if this was going to happen. And now that we know it's a solid thing that everybody loves, now we have more time to plan and figure out what our big items are.
We're still learning right now because we're still in the heart of tournament season. So the way the Hooptown works is you have your regular season that goes basically from October to end of December. And then starting in January, we have rivalry games that are every weekend. There's not a tournament. And so we're planning that out. We're learning as we go. I was just talking with Rick Betts, the founder of Hoopfest, about our Martin Luther King Day regional tournament, which would be awesome for families that want to play in big-time competition but might not be able to travel to the Seattles or the Californias. And so to bring all those teams up here, I think will be huge. So we have a lot of fun things that are on this laundry list.
I think it just keeps coming back to, we have the infrastructure in Spokane to support this.
Yeah.
This community loves basketball of any sort, being a spectator, playing, being a coach, being involved in other ways. Hopefully we can get some more people to be refs. We talked about that in our last episode. For the first year, it was a great launch. Like, it was a fantastic first go, and to get all these 3,300 plus kids out there was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to mention how much support you do need, obviously, to put this on. What can you say about those people, the refs, the clock managers, the
gym supervisors,
all of it? What can you say about those people who put in that time and devoted their weekends to making this happen?
Yeah, we really couldn't have done it without them. You think of being in 12, 13 gyms across the city, there's only so many Hoopfest staff or SPS staff or either other district staff. We need those people to come out and help us run this league. And I think they saw how cool it was. And it's funny, the numbers never go up as the year goes on. And for the first time, our numbers went up for score clock operators, gym supervisors, because I think they saw the value in what we were trying to do with the league. So couldn't have done it without them. And for us to grow, which we definitely want to do, we need to find more of those people to be a part of this program.
Well, I love seeing the high school students involved.
Yeah. Yep.
It was so fun to go and see the score clock operators be high school kids or the referees. And I thought, what a great way to learn the responsibilities of a job and self-confidence and a way to make money. And so that was one of the coolest things I didn't anticipate was the high school student involvement.
So next up, as far as what you guys are doing, so we know Riley's heading into actual Hoopfest season.
Yeah.
He keeps reminding us
right.
during planning meetings, like
by
he
the
has
way.
another job. And then I know, Mike, you're in the heart of, we're heading towards February, pre-March for the Zags women's team. So tell us a little bit about what you two are doing in the next month or so, non-Hooptown related, because I think anyone listening to this is interested.
Yeah, so for us, we are basically transitioning from what Hooptown was and AAU was to Hoopfest. It's always funny, people don't realize that we work the full year for Hoopfest, but we're just starting the puzzle, if you will. We're trying to get all the permits done, all of our sponsors in and stuff, but really just trying to make Hoopfest 2023 special. And I think we had a great year returning last year, and I think it's only going to be bigger and better this year. One of the exciting things that I guess we can announce now, because it's Hooptown related, is that we are going to be lowering our age requirement so that our Hooptown kids have a chance to play in Hoopfest.
Awesome.
So we're going to do special brackets for our first through third competitors, and should be a great event with more participation. And Hoopfest is the best. We're excited for it.
Last weekend in June?
Yep, June 24th, June 25th. So.
I'm seeing that it's going to be 82 and partly sunny for the whole weekend.
Sign me up.
Goodness.
That's what I heard.
dreamy.
Yeah, no rain, no
Long-range
105.
forecast. That's the app I have.
That's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mike?
Well, we're just getting the duct tape out. We got to just keep our team together. It has been the year of adversity between, concussions and, just kind of crazy injuries and illness. And this team has been so resilient. They're just so fun to coach. And just when you think, well, they would have an excuse not to show up, they'd have an excuse to maybe, just not buckle down. They don't take the easy way out. And they just been coming back and answering every single call to action. So really proud of them, and hopefully we have a nice deep tournament run, and I'm somewhere fun come March, April.
Absolutely. Coach Fortier is so cool.
Oh, she's the best.
Just being around Lady Zags basketball has been such a joy this year.
Yeah.
I going in, I couldn't even name some of the players because I know some of them are new and we go to all the games. But this year, like you said, that resilience and that ability to play with 7 players at times, bringing up a soccer girl to play, like, it's awesome. Fantastic. What a great display.
Thank you.
Women's basketball.
Yeah, proud of
you're
them.
keeping them together too. Well, we really thank you guys for being here, and
Thank
look
you guys so
forward
much.
to coming back next year when we preview the Hooptown Youth League on an episode.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Such great perspective from Riley and Mike on the Hooptown Youth League. And coming up next on SPS Extra, we chat with a few basketball players from Roosevelt Elementary School who participated in Hooptown Youth League this season. All right, we're here at Roosevelt Elementary School with some hoopers. I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Rita and I'm in 3rd grade.
My name is Delaney and I'm in 6th grade.
My name is Karis and I'm also in 6th grade.
First, let's just talk about what it was like participating in the Hooptown Youth League.
It was actually funner than I thought, and I made a lot of cool new friends.
I enjoyed it since this was my first year playing basketball ever.
It was a good team building experience on our team. We had some people that had played basketball before and then some people that it was their first year playing, and it was a good team building experience.
You guys talked about team building, and the one unique thing about the Hooptown Youth League is that they really try to get you to play with either your classmates or your friends at Roosevelt, and that is awesome. Can you guys speak to that and how fun it was to play with your classmates and your friends?
It was actually a lot more fun than I expected it to be. We got to play at our school, Roosevelt, so it was very convenient, and it was fun to have some familiar faces there.
It was nice to have people that you had already met before, so you could talk to them about other things and instead of getting to know them.
It was actually kind of cool because there's a lot more people that I knew that came to Roosevelt, and I made a lot of new friends.
How much fun was it? Again, you guys have said this, but describe what it was like, how much fun it was on the court with your teammates and your friends, in timeouts, even in the frustrating moments, because you do realize that, of course, it's a game and you want to win, but in the end, it's all about having fun.
It was fun, but sometimes if we lost, I'd be frustrated, but then my teammates would cheer me up by shooting hoops with me because I shot hoops at the end of the games.
On the court, it was better than I expected it to be. My mom made me play basketball this year for the first time, and I cried and asked her to unsign me up. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would because, the first game, we did not do as well as I would have liked to, but it was, even though we did not do our best, it was still, fun to play.
It was fun on the court and off the court to practice and engage with the people on our team because we got to win together and we got to lose together. And during the practices, there was a lot more of bonding than would have happened if it was a team of a bunch of people that we had no idea who they were.
So like you mentioned, this was your first year playing basketball, and you weren't as thrilled. We love the honesty, though. Do you think that you're going to continue playing basketball? And how cool of an opportunity was it to have something like this? Because Spokane hasn't really had this big of a youth kind of league before.
I probably will. I don't know. We'll have to see. But some of the things that I liked were that I didn't know the basics of dribbling a ball and stuff. But For example, we once played a game with this really good ref, and they were like telling us like how to do it. Like they were not only like blowing the whistle, but they were also teaching us in the midst of it.
There's one thing I really like about basketball, that like you use sportsmanship. Like you don't like say, "Ha, I won, you lost," but you say like you always like line up and then you give people high fives. And like with the refs, there was one really good ref that he only ref for 5th graders. And so like we were stealing the ball when we weren't supposed to be, then he started like calling those. And like everybody was tripping everybody. He's like, "All right, everybody come here. Team meeting."
Team meeting.
Yeah. And like he was really nice.
So if you guys had friends who were maybe hesitant or didn't want to go out and play basketball, what would you tell them about the experience and how you shouldn't be nervous? This is a fun league, but you should come and play with us next year. What would you tell a friend or maybe a classmate who might be a little hesitant to play basketball for the first time?
I would definitely share my story because beginning I knew like barely anything, and I had a really good time learning about new things, but I also got to like play and have fun, and even though I don't have to be the best player on my team, I can still be on my team, and it was a really good learning curve trying something new for the first time. I think this league was a good league to start out with because it definitely the players on my team that were better got to show their skill and play their hardest, but at the same time the people that were new to it got to experience the new things yet still have fun.
It was nice because there was no pressure to be the best on your team, and if you didn't play as well in one game, you wouldn't have pressure to like get better like right away. You had time to get better. And I think everyone on our team was, for the most part, pretty nice to each other if someone didn't play the best. And our coach was nice.
I would go up to my friend if he played soccer or something, and he like wanted to play basketball with me. I'd be like, and he wanted to stay on the bench. I'd be like, don't be shy. Like, yeah, like if there's and we didn't if we didn't play on a competitive team, I'd be like, we don't play on a competitive team, so you don't have to worry about anything.
3, 2, 1. Hooptown Youth League! All SPS 5th through 12th graders are invited to open gym for basketball on Sundays from 2 to 4 p.m. at all 5 high schools: Shadle Park, North Central, Ferris, Lewis and Clark, and Rogers. Please visit SpokaneSchools.org/open gym for more information and to get a registration form. Welcome back to SPS Extra. So great to get some kiddos' voices in this episode of this podcast, because when you were listening to those 3 awesome students from Roosevelt, you could tell how much they cared about Hooptown Youth League. And one girl, she was a little skeptical about it at first because she's never played basketball, but it ended up being really fun for her.
I think that's when I started getting serious about basketball.
Right.
And I did a feeder program, and you had said that they were excited about working out with other kids from other
Exactly.
schools, but then they're all going to end up at LC.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So much fun to get that perspective. And I think this is the time that we start to talk about our next episode. Episode 3 of SPS Extra. We're talking strictly extracurriculars, which is things that kiddos are involved in that might not necessarily be a sanctioned sport in the state of Washington at this point, but still really fun things like esports and cyber patriots, dance,
Visual and performing arts.
We could go on and on
Yes.
about all of the different clubs.
Robotics.
Yes.
Lego robotics.
Lego robotics, super popular.
Yes.
At SPS. So that will be an interesting episode, I feel like, to give people perspective on how much is offered at these different elementary, middle, and high schools. You should see the list, people. It's massive. There's so many things that your kiddos can get involved in. And so to dive deeper into that, I think will be so fun.
I think we also might talk to some kids about some things they want to do that we don't currently offer.
I think that would be awesome, because when you look at it in that perspective and you are starting to think about what other things we can do, you want the kids' perspectives, because interests and all that kind of good stuff, it's changed. It's changed since we've been kids, obviously.
And we know how important it is for kids to stay engaged and connected.
Yeah.
And so I think that will be a fantastic episode, talking about what kids want to do, what kids are doing, and what are the things that keep them engaged and furthering what they're doing in the classroom as well.
Yeah, it'll be so much fun. And of course, remember to follow us on social media at Spokane Schools. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the good stuff. But otherwise, we'll see you later.